32-year-old Neha has worked very hard for many years. Starting from humble beginnings to reaching a position of vice president in a company, she today draws a handsome salary. But yet, she has been saving very aggressively over the past 5 years. She has cut down her holiday plans, she has reduced partying and eating out, all of this just for one single purpose: to get her son Arjun admitted into one of the well-known schools in Mumbai, the city where she resides. After multiple rounds of tests, interviews, and interactions with the principals and faculty, she finally got the invoice of fees for the school, and the payment schedule simply got her dumbstruck. This video, we are going to dwell into all the aspects that led to schools getting so expensive and what we can do to end these arm-twisting pricings by many of these schools in this particular video. Watch this video till the end. I delve into the total expenses. I was just doing a math. From kindergarten to class 12th, on an average, a student or a child is expected to have an expense to the tune of 1.5 to 2 crores in this period. So that is the amount of money parents today would have to shell out if they want to get their child educated in a very well-renowned premium school. Surprisingly though, schools in India are actually registered as non-profits. So that makes me wonder what gives them the courage to charge this amount of money and how are they able to justify these prices. To start with, let's hear the school's argument. The schools claim that the cost of running a school is very high. Land prices are high, construction prices are high, which needs to be recovered over a period of time. There is a huge cost of maintenance, especially those schools which offer amenities like swimming pool, basketball court, tennis courts. That's one side of the story. Beyond that, some schools which are accredited to International Baccalaureate, that is IB curriculum, they have to pay a licensing/franchisee fee. You can call it as royalty or brand royalty fees. But all of these add up to an amount which still doesn't justify the fee. So the question still remains the same. Why are these schools charging so much and why are they escaping the regulatory ire? See the other side of the picture also as to why parents accept and pay this kind of a price. See, the point is that schools today are no more a case of education as far as parents are concerned. The biggest takeaway for a parent today is to say that his or her child goes to so-and-so school. They love being associated with a brand name of a Woodstock, a Doon, a Dhirubhai Ambani, so on and so forth. So they are not so particular about education quality or academic intellect that a child is gaining. They are more seeing it as a social status equation. And when you attach social status to anything, the price can literally skyrocket. But should education fall in that same path? Should school go down the same track? This video is going to further explore on that front. Beyond all these cases, let's first examine that why a school which is supposed to be a non-profit organization manages to charge such a high fee and yet manages to show very minimal or neglected profits. So here's the twist. Many schools are not registered as a company. In fact, no school can get registered as a company. Education is supposed to be registered as a trust and it is run by a group of trustees. These group of trustees are expected to be academicians from the field of education who will look into the management of school on a day-to-day basis as well as run the school's long-term and medium-term plans. But the enforcement of this directive is extremely weak and very often lacks transparency. This has led to many disputes, particularly on account of arbitrary hikes, opaque accounts. There are recent coverage shows that how there is a massive pushback from parents and having many core battles over fee regulation and profiteering. Non-profit rule only says that a school has to reinvest all the proceeds that it generates as surplus, quote-unquote surplus, and should not be taken away by anybody outside the school. So essentially it says like it's a company which can't pay a dividend. So this is a simple meaning of that. But in reality, if the school is not required to pay any dividend or required to have any shareholder return, what justifies them to target profitability in the first place? Otherwise, there's no way this expensive prices can be justified. The reality is that it is a corporation, the only difference being that instead of earning ROE directly, that is through profits, The trustees set up companies which act as vendors to the school, and they sell their products starting from stationery to uniform to all others which a school requires at a very inflated price. So the vendor company which belongs to the trustee makes the money. So that is where the profitability flows into. In fact, I have heard someone well known in the education industry say that there is a huge price or a huge pay for somebody to become a trustee of a school. In fact, a trustee of a school is a very, very sought after position which has huge quid pro quo. There's a huge amount of demand which people are ready to pay for, because being a trustee allows you to put your company in the vendor list of the school, push through a lot of sales which gives you revenue, and of course enjoy the social status of being a trustee of a school. The modern day trustees are seldom academicians with academic background and educational interests. They are mostly businessmen, and businessmen actually run schools today. But there are multiple types of school structures that exist in India, and this is where the answer to our requirement or our question also will come from. There is something called as the government school, which is owned, run by the government, everything managed by them. There's another thing called aided schools. Aided schools are also known as LFP, that is low fee paying schools. You would have heard about ideal or modern school, or those mid-sized schools which don't have a very great aesthetic and infrastructure, but they are privately managed, but they have sufficient requisite facilities. The labs are sound, the academics are good, the teachers are well trained. I even studied in one of these schools in my younger ages. It was in a town called Indore. I studied in a school called SICA. So these kind of schools actually did wonderful job for the education sector of the country, because it was privately managed and there was accountability. So it had a degree of professionalism, but because government was aiding the school, that is, they would pay for a certain amount of expenses of the school. That is why government and the state had a right to cap the fees also. That is why you even find a lot of these schools nurturing good talent and also being affordable for a fairly long period of time. But the number of these schools today has shrunk drastically. Reason being twofold. First of all, a school starts with the help of a government aid. So somebody wants to construct a school, they take a land, they seek government's permission to aid them. So as an aided school, they commence operations, and over a period of time they gain reputation. When they gain reputation, they realize that they don't need a government aid anymore, they can stand on their own, and they have a brand name which enables them to charge a higher fee henceforth. So they give up their aided school status and they become unaided, high fee paying schools. There's another alternative to that also. These aided schools which turn unaided also acquire franchisee/licensing from some of the premier school chains. For example, Delhi Public Schools, Ecole Mondiale. All these premium brand helps them to rebrand, and now being a DPS or a Ecole Mondiale school, they can charge as much fees as they want. So the strategy was to first gain access to student and build reputation over time, being an aided school, and subsequently turning into a for-profit organization. So this transition has actually caused a reduction in the number of LFP schools, as we call them. So today we are either left with public schools which are government run, which carry a very poor reputation for teaching and infrastructure and all other managements, and the other end we have extremely premium high-end HFP schools which charge top of the line money as if it's a 5-star hotel. So why did we end up in this kind of binary situation, which could have easily been avoided had we done a few set of measures? But we'll delve into that later. First, let me talk about some set of schools which are extremely premium, which really are 5-star. To name a few, you would see them on the screen: Dhirubhai Ambani International School, Ecole Mondiale World School, American School of Bombay. American School of Bombay is an IB school, popular amongst NRIs because it follows the American curriculum. So those who come to India on a particular stint, like 2, 4, 5 years, they prefer to have their wards and study in these schools. Then there's the famous boarding schools like the Doon School, Woodstock School, Welham School. A lot of these are quite famous. In the whole process, who's the loser, who's the winner? Of course, we know who the winner is, and we also know that the biggest loser is not just the child but also the family of the child. The question remains that wealthier families can surely afford these premier education, but what about the remaining? Because let's not forget, only 1% of India holds 60% of India's wealth, and there are only about 1 crore people in India who earn an amount north of 8 lakhs per annum. This is as per income tax data. Now, if that is the case, what would the remaining 99% people do? Because unless somebody is earning 10-12 lakhs a year, there's no way he's going to manage to pay even 5 lakhs per annum for his ward. So is the only choice for him to go to or send his ward to a government school, or can he have a better alternative? There are some solutions that I am suggesting for this. First thing is they need to promote quality public schooling. Kendriya Vidyalaya, Navodaya Vidyalayas are excellent. In fact, they have churned out great citizens for the country. Many of them are in the armed forces. A lot of them are great entrepreneurs and professionals. This needs to be extended. As much as the government focuses on increasing the number of IITs and IIMs, they would do great if they increase the number of Kendriya Vidyalayas, Navodaya Vidyalayas or other state-run Vidyalayas also. Second is to bring back the LFP model. So, LFP or aided schools was one of the earliest success story of a public-private partnership. This failed for only one reason: the exit costs were very low. Aided school, say like an ideal school, wanted to become unaided and turn HFP. There was no cost they had to pay to the government. They could easily do that. If this is stopped, they would think 10 times before moving away from the LFP model to being an HFP model where they turn completely unaided. This will ensure that the number of public-private partnered school or low fee paying schools continue to remain, and they offer very good education at an affordable rate. This will ensure that a very good alternative, which is going to the back burner, stays as a great alternative for parents. The third option, which is extremely important and I strongly recommend it is the collective parent action. See, we as a society have to decide how are we treating education. Are we associating education with matter of pride and social status, or we are looking at pure good academics and sufficiently good amount of extracurricular, not overdoing it? If we get our priorities right and society decides, then there is a fairly good number of even government schools and many such LFP schools available which have vacant seats. Surprisingly, that is true. The problem is that most people only want a few set of schools. As Ashni Rover says, that most parents in Delhi only want to put their wards into 10 or 15 schools, and those schools are extremely powerful because they carry the bargaining chip. While Nia has had good news. She finally found a school for her son Arjun and she has decided to get him admitted. This one is a fairly good school, of course in the LFP category, and she's pretty satisfied by it. It's not hitting her finances hard, and she now finally can choose to lead her life well. She can choose to take that holiday trip, she can choose to go for that movie which she has been resisting for so long, just so that her son gets the best.